Today I'm going to be clearing up how much protein you actually need to eat in order to put on muscle, so that way you aren't having to slam a bunch of protein shakes, you're not having to eat pounds of meat, or on the other side, maybe you might need to be eating a little bit more. First, I want to cover why protein matters. If you're someone who is trying to get in shape, you probably have heard that you need to be having a high protein intake, but there's a little bit more to that you might want to understand. Protein is made up of amino acids, and these are going to come down to non-essential and essential amino acids. Essential amino acids are the types that we need in order to build muscle, and we need to eat from foods. So, if you are wanting to build muscle, if you're wanting to recover muscle, you need to have amino acids. You can get these from a lot of food sources, but not all food sources are going to be complete sources. Generally speaking, things that are going to be complete sources are going to be meat sources, egg sources. You can get these from protein shakes or other protein bars. However, a lot of vegan and vegetarian options will not be complete sources. So something like beans or lentils, they're going to be oftentimes paired with another food in order to make a complete protein source. Now, you might have heard of something called muscle protein synthesis. Muscle protein synthesis is our body's digestion of protein, turning it into muscle, either again through recovering or by growing more muscle. And so, if you've heard that before, it's essentially just saying the more protein you eat, the more you're going to be able to fuel MPS or muscle protein synthesis, and therefore likely get more benefit when it comes to your workouts. This goes to say that no protein is going to mean essentially no gains, and the more protein that you have, essentially more gains. But there is an upper limit to this in terms of benefit. This is where I kind of want to cover how much you should be having per day. A general recommendation is going to be 0.7 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. I know that's a wide range. If you just wanted to aim for 1 gram per pound of body weight, that would be perfect. An example of this would be a 200-pound person should be aiming for roughly 200 grams of protein per day. Now, the reason that I give this range is because depending on the person, it's going to vary how much you should aim for. If you're someone who is in a caloric surplus, you're trying to put on muscle and you're bulking or lean bulking, you could have a little bit lower in terms of protein. Since you're already in a surplus, your body doesn't need as much protein. But if you're someone who's in a caloric deficit and you're trying to lose weight, you might want to stretch that protein range a little bit higher to the 1.0 or 1.2 range. The reason for this is your body doesn't have as much stored energy in order to convert into energy that our body can use for our workouts, and so therefore it might have to pull from the stores of muscle that we have in order to do so. For this reasoning, you might want to have your protein higher, so that way you're going to increase muscle protein synthesis and therefore hold on to or build muscle while still losing weight. Now again, I want to say there is an upper limit to the amount of protein. If you're having 3 grams per pound of body weight or 4 or just upwards of that, you're essentially just eating a lot of protein for no benefit because you're just going to pee out the excess. On top of that, you're taking away from what you otherwise could be having in terms of fats and carbs, which are the other 2 macronutrients that our bodies need in order to perform well. Fats are going to help with our hormones, and so we want to have enough fats so that we're not messing with those. Carbohydrates are going to be our main fuel source for workouts. So instead of using those fuel that we could from carbohydrates, we're just, again, having too much protein that's not really going to benefit us. Another important thing with muscle protein synthesis is that it isn't going to be maintained just from having one protein meal at the start of the day. It is going to drop over time. And so what this means is timing does matter. You want to be spacing out your protein throughout the day if you can. Every roughly 1 to 2 hours or 3 to 5 hours is what you want to aim for. One extra pro tip is if you have a protein shake before you go to bed, this is going to be easily digestible protein, and this is going to help keep MPS high throughout the night when you're sleeping. Our bodies are going to recover and grow a lot when we're sleeping, and so having a protein shake before bed could be beneficial. One thing to note with this though is you don't want to have it too close to bedtime, as that could help disrupt your sleep by making you wake up in the middle of the night to have to go to the bathroom. And I generally would say that a protein shake is going to be better than a whole food source, because that is going to be something that is our body having to digest, whereas a protein shake is much easier on the stomach in terms of digestion. So again, that's why I would opt for a protein shake over something like a steak. So if you're looking for the best sources of protein, I would say that things with high bioavailability is what you're going to want to be aiming for. So something like chicken breast, Greek yogurt, eggs, steak, these are going to be whole food options. Things like salmon, things like whey protein, it's not going to be something that you should avoid. Whey protein and whey protein shakes are going to be beneficial. They have some of the highest bioavailability when it comes to protein, and so don't avoid supplements. They are going to be beneficial, especially in this case. And then again, like I named earlier, the beans and lentils are going to be plant-based. However, just making sure that you're getting complete sources of protein from those and not incomplete sources if you are vegan or vegetarian. Now, a couple things that I see a lot of people do wrong when it comes to trying to get their protein in is they only get them from supplementary sources like protein shakes or protein bars. These are convenient, however, they are going to lack a lot of the macro and micronutrients that we're looking for from predominantly whole food diets, and so therefore these should be things that, again, supplement the rest of your daily life life and diet, not something that you depend on to hit your protein goal. Another big one is not spreading protein throughout the day. Again, you want to be spacing roughly 20 to 40 grams every 3 to 5 hours throughout the day if you can. Another one is ignoring protein or not hitting your protein goal when you're in a caloric deficit. This is the time, again, when it's most important to hit it because you're not having an excess of food that you can be able to use for energy. Your body might have to pull from muscle in order to do so. So, hit your protein goal in order to have more of a muscle sparing benefit. And the worst one that you can do is not tracking your protein intake. Using apps like MyFitnessPal and use something like a food scale is going to be the most beneficial thing that you can do in order to make sure you're hitting your protein goal. Why? If you're not tracking it, you're not aware. You might be thinking, oh, I'm hitting 200 grams per day. You could really be hitting 130 grams and you don't know it because you're not tracking it. So please, they're free apps. Download them and track your protein. To sum up here, these are the 4 points that I want you to focus on. 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. Roughly per day is what you want to aim for protein. Eating protein every 3 to 5 hours. If you can space it out, that's great. If you can't, it's not a big deal. However, you are missing out on a little bit of the benefit that you could be. I want you to focus on whole foods first. Again, supplementation is fine, especially like a protein shake before bed. That's perfectly fine. And then stop overcomplicating it. Track your foods, eat high protein, and get into the gym. If you're overcomplicating it, you're going to get paralysis analysis and you're going to stop yourself from trying to actually make the most benefit. So rewatch this video if you have to, write these points down, and then just work on it. That's all you got to do. You will progress over time. This is a long game. Muscle growth is a long game. So if you have any questions about this, if this cleared up things for you, drop a like and a comment. And if you have any other questions for me, I'm a fitness coach. I can help you to make a plan. I can help you with your nutrition. Just go to my website, click the link, and sign up for my coaching. Also, if you want me to make a breakdown on carbs or fats next, drop them in the comments letting me know. Or if you have any other video ideas that you would like me to cover, drop them in the comments.